Great. So we are recording. We'll get started. The first round table of the year. Thanks for coming today. Thanks for coming back. So some folks may have noticed that the agenda will be living on Niche Academy now. That is to, comply better with new regulations around internet accessibility. It is a bit of a pain to try and get PDFs accessibility level up to snuff. And so we're going to try it living on Niche Academy, where I can just kind of update it as needed. And if that doesn't work that well, we can always switch to putting the agenda right on a web page or the web page. Okay, folks are coming in now with that corrected link, which is great. Okay, as per usual, I'm going to share my screen, and this is kind of the back end, the way that Niche Academy looks. I'll turn on the learner mode so that you can see what it actually looks like. We have all the past agendas, including those recording links like usual. Links are appearing in this green, which is a little hard to see. I might see if I can fix those settings somewhere on the back end. Um, but I've scrolled down to February 24th, 2026, which is today. I will put the recording link when it's ready here as per usual. As always, please send your questions, agenda items, other concerns to me, or just bring them to the roundtable. That's totally fine. We also, always have open forum here for anyone to bring anything. So I put the link to the cataloging website, which is helpful, although, like I said, these agendas are going to live on Niche Academy unless we think maybe they should go there instead. I just feel like it's maybe easier to pick and choose a date to look at a past roundtable rather than to have one long continuous website, but maybe others feel differently. I'm always open to feedback for that, so please let me know what people's preferences might be. Yeah, and then I have the roundtables listed for 2026. May and November will meet at 1 o'clock, August, and obviously today at 10 a.m. Hopefully you can join for those. And then just a note that 2026 cataloging basic class, rather core course, the foundational course in cataloging will be running from April 15th to May 13th. That's Wednesdays at 1 p.m. For anyone in your libraries who may be interested, or you. People in the continuing, the certificate for public librarianship program are prioritized in this particular class, but sometimes there is room. And as always, if you have ideas for other classes, for one-offs, for, I don't know, even series, I'm very open to hearing that. Let me know what folks need. As per usual, we will go around and if you can introduce yourself, your name, your library, what ILS you use, just to orient us. And if anyone doesn't have capability to use a microphone or speak, you can always pop things in the chat. I will read that as well. Otherwise, we can go down the list and do some introductions. So I'm Lauren Kelly. I work here at the State Library, and we use the ILS Verso. Next on the list, we have Deb.
Hi, Deb Allers from Norwich University, and we use the WMS catalog.
Thank you. And Janet.
I'm Janet from Rutland Library. We use Koha through the Catamount Library Network.
Right. And next on the list is Jess. I don't know if you have mic capability today or not, but you have listed Burnham Library. No mic, no worries. And you guys are, yeah, Koha with vocal. And then next on the list, we have Jill.
Hi, I'm Jill. I'm the director at Fletcher Memorial Library, and we are Koha, part of Catamount Library Network.
Awesome, thank you. And next we have Pat at Winhall.
Good morning. I'm late for various reasons. In Southern Vermont at Windhull, and we use Koha and Catamount as well.
Perfect, thank you. And next we have Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin from Grand Isle, and we use Vocal Koha.
Awesome. And next on the list is Sarah joining us.
I'm at Kellogg Hubbard Library, and we also use Koha with Catamount Library Network.
Great, thanks. And last but not least, we have Wendy.
Hi, I'm Wendy from Bent Northrop Memorial Library in Fairfield, and we use Koha.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks everyone for joining today. Apologies for any confusion around links. Using the libcal registration area link is probably easiest. I wonder if I should put the link somewhere on niche as well. Maybe that might be a good thing to do as well. I will do that. Let me edit as we go so that I don't forget things. Okay. So as always, going to just go through some cataloging news and resources that I come across. If you ever come across news or resources that you think are helpful, pertinent, please send them my way. The Library of Congress announced effective February 2nd, they will cease adding a form subdivision, so that's that subfield V, to the end of the Library of Congress subject heading strings, so aka your 650 subject heading field, and instead make sure to use a Library of Congress genre form term heading in a 655. Just because it comes from Library of Congress does not necessarily mean that you have to adopt that practice as well, but a lot of those cataloging and publication data blocks, if they have subject headings, they might look a little different. I feel like more and more we're seeing less of them, so maybe it won't be too big of a change, but I thought that it was worth mentioning. I think I maybe mentioned it at the last roundtable as well. But that was part of some updating that they recently announced. But like I said, your practice is going to probably vary. You don't have to follow in suit, but if you come across records from Library of Congress, that might be the case. Upcoming conferences that I figured was helpful to boost. VLA has announced that they're going to be in Burlington on June 1st. The department will be there. I'll be there. The New England Library Association Conference, NELA, this year is going to be in Burlington later in the year in October, but also the department will be there and I will be there if any interest. In other department news, in January, we did a webinar on the LibCal reservation system, which has the department's story walk sets, book kits, and equipment. The recording of that, the resources for that are on Niche Academy. More and more items are being added to this collection as I have time for them, but there are some interesting items, decodable book bundles, two book sets that are made up of titles from the 250th book collection list that was put together by that commission from the state. The welcoming library collections, these are picture books that are geared towards welcoming new Americans, immigrants, new community members. And then there are also 3 different levels of these grief, loss, and trauma kits that were put together through, I'm blanking on the advocacy groups that put those together with the department, but those are interesting. And of course, Storybox, as I mentioned. There is a LibCal reservation directions web page, but just good to know. Good resource sharing. As always, I try to update when I see that Library of Congress has made new decisions about subject headings, which they recently put those decisions and communications behind a paywall. They are updating some decisions on the website that is linked here, but it's a lot less detailed. So I usually say that I include this kind of information to remind us at the very least that subject headings, controlled vocabulary, these different thesaurus that we use do get updated. They are living documents being updated as context and ideas and frameworks change, which is a good thing about cataloging, being responsive to the way that the world is and the way that our users might try and get to the information that we have. And finally, the recording of the OCLC cataloging community meeting is at this link here. They posted slides, they posted the recording. They had the first half of the day was this metadata panel talking about ethical uses for AI in cataloging. I'm sure there are many feelings around that as a topic in itself. And then the second half of the day was talking more about cataloging products and services from OCLC, which may be not relevant at all, but those are the things that have come across my desk. If anyone has cataloging news or resources to share, oh, I see there's something in the chat. Oh, where in Burlington will VLA be held? My understanding is that it's actually going to be at the Howe Library. I don't have much more information than that, but I believe Rachel Muse and some other folks are on the committee for that. So keep an eye on the listserv or reach out to them. All right, we can move on to conundrums. This is something that came to me. We have a librarian noting that I've run into an issue ordering book club books, kits rather, on Clover, where there's also single items accidentally cataloged on the same record as the book club kits. A few of the libraries I've contacted don't quite seem to understand that the record they used was the wrong record. Is there a way to remind libraries to use the correct type of record when cataloging? So this is a reminder that there can be differences between book club kits and single copies, and the way that it then feeds into Clover can make it so that someone's trying to request either the kit or the single item and just not being able to get either, basically. Robin, I see you have your hand up. Go ahead and
So
shoot.
mine is in response to this issue.
Yeah.
We changed over to Vocal Koha in May, and it's done, like they took our records and assigned it to records in Koha. And because of the way my home library does things like creates book club kits and other things, it appears first because in the order. And so something like 35 to 38 of my records were assigned to book club kits, and I had to discover that, and other things that were also not where it should be. So I think there needs to be a way, maybe that they're not still identified with the ISBN number, because because the ISBN number would indicate that it's a single book, right? And so
Yep.
maybe we need to have some way so that in the different cataloging systems that are shared in particular, like if you just do it on your own, doesn't, no harm, no foul, you're not going to be using a record that's a book club kit. It took a lot of work for me to undo all of those.
Yeah.
And so it really is, like I say, if you do a search in Vocal Koha, I don't know what the other Kohas like, under a ISBN, if there's a book club kit associated with that ISBN, frequently the book club kit, because it has the word that begins with B, appears first in the search, and so a migration will apply your things to that one.
Yep. That is a really good insight. Thank you for sharing that. Also, apologies, well, not apologies, but my sympathy for a migration causing that issue, because yeah, you're so
I
right. That's
learned
time
so
consuming.
much in doing that. So it's
Yeah.
actually, I now have down how to switch something from one record to another. I'm like a pro at it, but
Yep.
yeah,
Trial by fire, right?
exactly. Yeah, well, and it was months before I knew that this was going on, but yeah.
Yeah. One note I'll also say is use of brackets in this case is really helpful to say things like, book club or discussion kit or set.
But there has to, I mean, it also, like a use of brackets, a way to make it so something appears not first, so it's not automatically applied, or just, when you're entering something into Koha, a new book, it should be that the first one you see is the one you most likely would want to use, as opposed to the first one being. But my guess
Right.
is the issue is more of an issue when a library is migrated to the software.
Yeah. Yeah. This issue came up from the Clover side. And so it's also interesting what Clover uses to map and to group records together.
But if
So it,
my book was identified as a book club kit because it was attached to the book club kit in Koha, Clover would see it as a book club kit, right?
yes,
Yep.
yep,
So that's
it
how
will.
libraries beyond Koha would find it as a book club kit.
Yep, as long as in uh your MARC record, it's
Right.
clearly labeled. And I think the majority of, actually, it's probably hit or miss record wise, but I believe most of the discussion kits in the state library here don't actually contain an ISBN, so that they don't get pulled into displaying that way. But the problem is that then if someone's searching and only using the ISBN, it's not going to come up at all. So
Right.
the pros and cons of that. But I would highly recommend using brackets to say right in the title, or a 500 note. That way it's extra clear, just as a general note for anybody listening. But the example of a migration issue makes a lot of sense. Any other comments around book club kits and MARC records? I'm wondering if libraries who who are a part of KitKeeper, I wonder, your KitKeeper items are still in your regular catalogs, right? But are they suppressed in Clover, or are they coming through in Clover as well? Okay, I see some typing in the chat, so we'll pause for that. If anyone has any comments, please feel free to jump in. I'm going to write down my question. As the department has been adding items to LibCal, we've been having these discussions about, making sure that it displays properly in Clover, redirecting people to LibCal, and then how do we mark them in our ILS so that internally we can still check out and record those circs. So this is a dance that we are also thinking about and cognizant of. Wendy writes, ours were not logged in Clover if we had them in KitKeeper. Okay, that's good to know. That's just good context. So the answer for that, um, okay. Let me know if there are other thoughts about this question. Otherwise, I just compiled a short list of some discussion from the listserv on book jacket covers using Brodart versus Demco. We have a recommendation from a librarian for their invoicing, their billing ease, they have fast shipping, all of that stuff. A recommendation of the polypropylene Vistafoil, comes in 3 sizes, and rolls of Polyfit Center Cut Book Jacket, which also comes in 3 sizes. If anyone ever has recommendations or is after recommendations, I've been trying to compile them. I know that in previous roundtables we've talked about scanners, and there was another question about like paperback soft cover material. So that can be an ongoing roundup as well for the roundtable. Finally, oh, actually, I think, Janet, you had let me know that you had a question to bring. If you want to bring it up now, that would be great. Ah, capitalizing a book with the title Unordinary.
I know you
So,
usually capitalize the first letter, but I'm seeing both examples in
yeah.
WorldCat. There are 3 different volumes of this graphic novel series, and on the book itself, it's lowercase u, lowercase n, and then ordinary is all in caps.
Yeah. Yeah, so here is an example of that. Yeah, that difference. Both are volume 1. I would think, I'm trying to think of when when a book is whenever it starts with a lowercase, I'm trying to think if you honor that. I wonder if this is an experiment. I wonder if, nope, authorities. I wonder if Library of Congress has any, no, they have no authority records probably for the series name. No. I'm gonna see what they have, if they have it or not. They might not. Oh, they do. Okay. And then I find this interesting that uh, this book that is obviously related to the series does not honor that case situation, and yet they're listing for this book when it starts at the beginning of the title, it is honored. Oh, but then even Library of Congress, huh? Let me do some digging and see if I can find some consistency elsewhere or some general rule. Yeah, that might be one that I need to get back on, and I can send you an email when I find anything, if I find anything. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't miss the obvious. I couldn't find a general rule. Yeah, it might be, I don't know. I mean, I feel like title page is usually the, tried and true, whatever, however it's written there. Um, but it's interesting to see just how this inconsistency. Oh, and then here's the same book that Library of Congress did not capitalize the O, but WorldCat has it listed with the capital O. Hmm, I don't know. We'll have to look on that. Oh, and then the title page has ordinary completely capitalized, which I think you might have said. Weird. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting example. I'm not sure. And then I also, part of my thinking on this is also then in practice, what changes in terms of searching, whether you're indexing unordinary with a capital O or unordinary, all in caps, or unordinary, capital U, and everything else lowercase. I'm wondering, with the power of, keyword searching, if that really is going to um, affect the recall, but I don't know. So that's just one a further question that I have with this book. Thanks, Janet. Hopefully we can find some guidance somewhere, but I will I will do some digging and let you know. Do folks have, oh, Jill, you have your hand, please. Oh, I think you are muted.
Unmuted. Sorry, I
Perfect.
stepped out during the conundrums because I was needed out front. But I have a small conundrum,
Yeah.
and it would be the first edition publication of Kristen Hanna's book entitled Magic Hour. We would never have known about this except we had gotten a request through ILL, so some library smarter than us, that this book was republished in, I believe it was 2009, with the title change, and the title changed to Wild. However,
Oh,
in Catamount, we're all on the same record under Magic Hour. would I then be an okay thing to go into the 246 field and put the alternate title Wild there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. That would be a good.
Oops. I also have one more question. I don't want to steal time.
No, that's great. Let me just see if there's a note in varying form of title,
Okay.
because I love how the second indicator you can really nail down what it's pointing out about that varying form of title, but I wondered if it was if you could point out that this is a reissue. But it doesn't look like there is a good reissue note. You could also add it as a 500, just, republished under different name. But
If it were in the 500
I
though,
might
if
go with
somebody said,
other
do you have the book
title.
Wild by, Kristen Hanna? And if there's
Oh,
a
right.
volunteer and they won't know what it is,
Searching.
and if they search, it won't come up.
Yep. Yep. Cool. So yeah, use a 246, um, probably 0 or 1, and then 3 for other title. That's what I would do.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
The other question is, and it's pretty general. We had someone donate a Book of the Month Club to us, and we weren't really sure if we wanted it or not. So it has an ISBN, so we obviously looked in Catamount. Nobody even had the title. And then I went to World Search, and nothing comes up there. What do you do with the Book of the Month Club? Same number of pages, same everything, but the ISBN's different.
Yeah. Um, I think that my first thought is, how much time do you have on your hands? Do you
Right.
want to copy copy a record that is the same as the edition that you have, but swap out the ISBNs, put a note about it's the Book of the Month Club edition. You might use a 250. If there's anything on the Verso page that
Mm-hmm.
states, that this is a Book of the Month Club edition or whatever, you could put that there. You could put it in 500. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's probably your best bet.
Okay.
I would think that because you're in a shared catalog, it's probably not best practice to add that different ISBN into an already existing record.
Right. Right.
I think it's probably your best bet to make a copy of that. Uh, like I think you can duplicate or edit
Yep.
as new.
Yep. It's easy
Yeah,
enough to do. Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that way, you've just created that record for anyone else who may run into that. So it's probably the best course of action.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah. Wendy writes, put it in the book sale. Oh, Jess has a note about our magic hour that you can add in a note field, first published as Magic Hour in 2006. Yeah, always good to cover bases um, in that way.
The copy that we have is Magic Hour, and there's nothing wrong with it, so I'm not going to reorder it in the new Wild title
Right,
on it. Right.
right.
So, okay.
Okay. Thanks all. yeah, this unordinary is going to be further homework, and I'll try to post whatever I see, and Jenna, I might send you a message with results, should I be able to find them. Does anyone have successes that they would like to share? Otherwise, we're at almost 10:40, and you can probably end a little bit early today. If you do have questions, if you come across interesting points worth noting, please reach out. You know where to find me. Thanks for coming today. I'll put the meeting links in Niche Academy as well, and we'll try this out for a little while. And if it's a little too clunky for folks, we can try having a running web page of all of these things. Yeah, always open to suggestions, as always. I see some typing in the chat. Otherwise, yeah, we can end today, but keep in touch. And thanks for joining for the first roundtable of the year.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
You too, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.